Hello Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more r/am I the butthole. If you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that subscribe, that like, maybe that notification bell as well, and let's dive into today's stories. Much love guys. And our first story comes from Gel Pen is Better, who says, am I the arsehole for telling my mum her family isn't worth my time and effort? I've never felt very close to my extended family, cousins, uncles, etc. on either side. My mother's side were a big part of raising me when I was very young, 5-year-old and younger. But my parents divorced, my father got custody, and we lived in the Midwest, whereas my mother's side of the family was in Mexico and Houston, Texas. My father died 15 years ago when I was 20, and I've had very little contact with dad's side of the family before or since. Mum is an old school Roman Catholic Mexican, and she is all about family. She insists and pressures me constantly to make an effort to be close to her side of the family. She thinks with technology and effort we can overcome the distance. This is probably true, but I don't want to. I already have more people in my social life than I want and I'm spread thin on time and social energy. I want to reduce the people in my life and not add more. But she tells me they feel a strong bond towards me because they helped raise me young, and I don't remember it. Also, she says I'll regret not connecting with the family once it's too late. I've told her how I felt. My sister feels the same. She's also told mum, but more harshly than me. A few times, but she doesn't and can't accept it. She just stays quiet until some days and weeks pass and pressures me again to connect. Mio, excuse the pronunciation, call your cousin, or Mio, your abuelita loves you and misses you. Why can't you just call her? Well, because I'm not interested in spending the time, and it's a waste unless I make continuous investment of my time, which I don't want to do. I know her well, and it'd never be enough until I'm talking with them all the time. Finally, one day she asked me very directly, why don't you want to have a bond with your Mexican family? And I told her they aren't worth the time and effort. I tried to tell her gently many times before and wanted it to sink in, but I hurt her feelings pretty bad. Maybe just calling them whenever she asks is the lesser evil. I don't know. Am I the arsehole? Edit, I forgot to say that family is one of mum's core values and she is genuinely distraught at the idea that her family ties are going to be severed by her children. She grew up surrounded by family and sees us alone and sincerely can't believe it's possible for us to be happy without family. Edit 2, they used to call me on birthdays and other occasions, i.e. they did make some effort, but I wasn't interested and they eventually stopped. Now, I think to this one, it's a not the arsehole to me in some ways, that from what I've read in this post that these people haven't been a regular contact in your life up until now, why can't they call you, etc. But your delivery at the very end there of they aren't worth the time and effort may potentially make it in everyone sucks here. And don't get me wrong, I come from a family that's, got close bonds and all this sort of stuff, so I do sort of understand that side of thing from mum and wanting the family to be close, but it's your life too, and like I said before, you haven't had much contact up until this point, so why suddenly do you have to be contacting them to get to know them and all this kind of thing? Why can't they contact you, etc, etc? And I'm assuming the mum does put on a lot of pressure. From one of the paragraphs you mentioned, your sister feels the same, and she also told your mum even more harshly than you did. But your mum just refuses to accept it. And then your mum goes on to say that your family loves and misses you, why didn't you just call them? And it's like, well, they can call you. I'm not saying that you would prefer that, because it doesn't sound like you want much contact anyway. You've got enough going on in your life. But I always question that, why isn't the situation reversed? Why aren't they calling you instead? So I am going to say I'm not the arsehole in this one. Potentially controversial, maybe. And I'd love to know your thoughts. As I always say, sometimes my opinions change from hearing your side of things. Never apologize for having a different opinion, it's what it's all about. Sexy Beast 1146 says you're the arsehole. It's one thing for it to be about you, not having the bandwidth for more people in your life, but to tell your mother her family, your family also by the way, isn't worth your time and effort is intentionally hurtful, and also disrespects the effort these people put into raising you when you were young. You sound snotty and self-centered. OP replies to that saying, I wish I knew what to say instead. I tried the gentle approach several times from several angles and it never works. Webby Vanderquack says you're the arsehole. I think she needs to ease up on the pressure, but your attitude is self-centered. Telling your mother her family isn't worth the time and effort is cruel, and your reasoning for not wanting to call them is totally selfish. You've calculated that it can't benefit you in any way and would be a waste of your investment, so you don't want to do it. But your mother has pointed out that these people love and miss you. This is one of those times you could do a small thing for someone else's benefit. Just be kind. Cosmoli replies to that one saying, not the arsehole. First calls, then video calls, then nagging about coming for Christmas. OP feels no connection to this part of the family and don't want to be pushed to create such. Mum was pushing and pushing, so OP finally served her cold response. This is no obligation to love or have a bond with someone, only because someone loves you. On this subreddit it is often stated that no is a full sentence, and same in this case. Giant Pixie says, I mean, not the arsehole, because it's your life and you can do what you want, but I'll be honest, I think your family is far better off without you in it. You came across as very self-centered and selfish, and it seems your mother's side are very open and loving. I think you'd end up bringing them down. Lilo Flower says, I get this because the Mexican side of my family is always guilting me and my partner to spend every second with them. Every weeknight dinner is treated like Christmas and they're so insulted that we only want to come over once a week. But you really didn't have to say they aren't worth your time and energy. There are other explanations, but she's never going to let up on you. The guilt is so real. Everyone sucks here. Cat Outrageous 9135 says you're the arsehole, not for not wanting to talk to people that have basically become strangers. However, they're not worth the time and effort is an arsehole thing to say. And let's have one more from Chewy Rib who says you're the arsehole. Why be a narcissistic arsehole? It's family. You don't have long on this earth, and family is really the only ones in this world that actually give a shit about you. More than friends, government, business, etc. My father died when I was young. I never got to know his side of the family. I'm white, but was primarily raised by Mexican godparents because my mum had to work all the time. As a gringo, I learned what real family is like through them. They had such a big family event. Every day was an endless get-together. I always had kids to play with, adults to give me advice. I never ever felt alone. They treated me like family, and to this day I still remain in contact, even though they moved away. I still manage to find time in my busy life to give them a call once in a while, or visit every now and then. It's such a special relationship to have. You should try it with your own family. Even a 30-minute phone call can make a world of difference in your grandmother's life. You can also talk to her as an adult now, and really understand your roots. Now, what do you guys make of this story? What would you do if you was in OP's shoes and, maybe had feelings like they did? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And what am I the arsehole without a wedding story? Significant Drop 811 says, am I the arsehole for not letting my sister be a bridesmaid? I 27 female and my sister 27 female are identical twins. She has been told by almost everyone that she is the more beautiful one. My parents favour her more and will do anything that she asks. I used to be jealous of her when I was younger, but quickly got over it. She went off to attend college and got engaged after graduating. I wasn't invited to her wedding. She told me it was because they were having food I couldn't eat. My parents threw her a huge wedding that cost hundreds. She and her ex went through a ton of hard times. I tried to be there for moral support, but each time she pushed me away. I am now engaged to my fiancée, 28 female. Her parents offered to help with wedding expenses. My parents wanted nothing to do with our wedding. My sister found out we were engaged and started begging me if she could be a bridesmaid. I told her no, but she would receive an invite. She blew up on the phone at me that I was choosing friends over family and she deserves to be a bridesmaid. My parents called me and told me to let my sister be a bridesmaid. Am I the arsehole for not letting my sister be a bridesmaid? Now, automatically coming in with a not the arsehole from me on this one, and got to the second paragraph and it says I wasn't invited to her wedding. She told me it was because they were having food I couldn't eat, and I was like, what? And the parents showing the favoritism by throwing her a huge wedding, and then you trying to be there for moral support for her but pushed you away. I'd be interested in the further backstory to this post and how it's really got to this point. And by that I can tell that it's mainly about the whole favoritism thing, but like the additional stories that go with it, there's clearly a lot more. But there's no way you're going to be the arsehole in this. She didn't invite you to her wedding, man. That Austrian dude says not the arsehole. Tell her that you have food she can't eat. Corner TV says not the arsehole. At this point I wouldn't even invite her. She sounds like the type who would just go for attention whoring. And then OP replies here, my fiance thought the same thing. EACA says, not the arsehole, she didn't even invite you when she got married. Sounds like you were choosing friends over family as part of a long history of family not being there for you. Forward Plenty says not the arsehole, she keeps acting like a cow. She might not even get an invite to the wedding because you are having people food. Your parents are showing their favoritism. I'm betting they didn't call her to push for inviting you to her wedding. OP replies, I contacted them about the wedding and they told me it was cancelled and was being rescheduled. What? And Rishkar says, info, you say in your original post, in quotes, my parents wanted nothing to do with our wedding. It goes on to say, in your explanation you say, in quotes again, saying, I feel my actions will ruin my relationship with my family. Then goes on to say, OP, I want to ask this in all seriousness. Do you currently have a relationship with your family to ruin? Your sister is selfish and your parents not only favour her, but depending on their reasons for not wanting to be involved in your wedding, may be homophobic as well. At best, you're in a golden child/scapegoat dynamic. At worst, your bio donors are homophobic. Are your parents even coming to your wedding? And based off the previous comment where they helped lie for sister about the whole wedding thing, would you want them there in the first place? I know it's an incredibly hard thing to, push your parents away, but the way they've treated OP already. Odd Meat says, not the arsehole, and quotes, I wasn't invited to a wedding, then says pretty bold of her to demand being a bridesmaid. Time to not invite her and your parents at all. One more from Maroon Grad who says, not the arsehole. Tell her that she's welcome to come. Your only requirement is that she wear the bridesmaid's dress that you wore to her wedding. Now, what do you guys make of this one? It has to be a not the arsehole, but I can't believe the parents in this situation as well and what's going on in the background. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Will Not Share, titled, Am I the arsehole for not sharing my phone with my boyfriend? I, 27 female, have been dating my boyfriend, 28 male, for about 5 months now. We haven't moved in with each other yet, but we're talking about doing that when our apartment leases are up. Mine is up next May, his next June. So we're still in the newly dating stage, but talking about moving on to more serious life commitments in the future. Boyfriend has said he wants us to share passwords for our phones and to give each other access at all times. As a trust gesture, I guess. Like, we wouldn't share email passwords or anything, but he could ask to see my phone and see my text conversations and such, and I could do the same in return with him too. He wants this to be equal. The thing is, I can't do that. I'm a teacher, and I sometimes get emails that are protected by FERPA. Think the education equivalent of HIPAA. I have my work email set up to go to my phone too, so I can get notifications while I'm working. My phone is set to a facial scan and lock for this reason, so people can't take my password and unlock it. If I let my boyfriend have access to my work email, I could be fired for breaching FERPA if he reads the wrong things. So I explained this to him, and he said he understood that part, and that he wouldn't ask to get into my work things. I said I couldn't let him access my phone at all because my work email is attached to it. I could hold it and show him what he wants to see, but I can't just hand it over for him to look at. Well, I could technically and just trust him not to look at my work email, but I don't want to. He suggested that I remove my work email from my phone to avoid the problem entirely. I refused the suggestion because it's more convenient for me to get emails to my phone. If I take my class to the library or out to recess, I take my phone with me, but not my computer. And when I'm at home, I can check my work email from my phone to see if it's something important before opening up my computer to do any work. Now he's upset with me because of this. Holding my phone and showing him what he wants to see isn't enough for him. And for the record, there's no history of cheating for either of us, so it's not a trust issue either. So am I the arsehole for not removing my work email from my phone so he can check my phone? I can tell you right now, I wouldn't be moving in together. I mean, you've been together for 5 months and he's pulling this kind of shit out the bag. Your phone is private, it should stay private, and he should have no access to it whatsoever. And just the persistence of trying to get in your phone as well, by the sounds of it. You said in the last paragraph that it's not a trust issue either, but in the second paragraph that he wants access at all times as a trust gesture, I guess. So you know it's a trust gesture. He doesn't trust you and he wants to be controlling over your phone and over your personal possessions, over your privacy. So do not share it and, take a step back and take a look at things if I were you. But High-End says, not the arsehole, and girl, you need to run. That is not normal behavior. He is controlling, wanting to access your phone at all times. To the point he wants to delete your work email isn't okay. He doesn't need to search your phone. He should just trust you. And if he doesn't, there is no reason to be together. This really sounds like the beginning stages of more controlling behavior. Nip it in the bud now. Just the fact says sounds like the next step should not happen. We've been married for 39 years, and even though we happen to know each other's passwords for just about everything, I have no interest in snooping or bothering with my wife's phone, email, computer or tablet, and she is likewise towards me. Just because we know his information does not mean we use this information. Check necessary says not the arsehole. Him wanting to access your phone regardless of your job and accessibility is a huge red flag. I honestly won't even set a common password. Zombie OK says not the arsehole, and then quotes, holding my phone and showing him what he wants to see isn't enough for him. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You should not even do that. He's far too controlling. Get rid of him. Little Zero Flower says not the arsehole. Him demanding access to your phone is a red flag. He will only get more controlling as time goes on. Beginning Ice says, oh hell no, not the arsehole, because this is a major violation of your privacy and boundaries. I agree this isn't a trust issue, but only because this is a massively controlling issue. I mean, FERPA is just a minor icing on this nope cake. He has no business having access to your emails. I'm not going to tell you to run, but you seriously need to consider if this is the type of relationship you want, because I don't think it'll get better. Now, I'm not going to read any further comments on that one because they're pretty much all the same, just basically saying, this is a violation of your privacy, boundaries, controlling issues. But what do you guys make of this one? What should OP do in this situation? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Admirable Term 736. Am I the arsehole? Snapped on sister-in-law over MLM. Now, I pretty much think I'm going to know my verdict on this one already, but I saw MLM and I couldn't help but get myself involved. Am I the arsehole? Recently, my 35 female sister-in-law, 26 female, joined an MLM company, pyramid scheme. I looked at what she was selling and saw that it was all health supplements and stuff like that, and is extremely overpriced. $80 for 15 servings of coffee. That they claim makes you lose weight, but if you join the loyalty club, it's only $45. I let her know that since I am pregnant, I will not be buying these products and they are not safe for the baby. Her response was I could start stockpiling it now to lose the baby weight. I told her that since I will be breastfeeding, that will not be happening either. She then started to try and tell me that the stuff is fine to take when breastfeeding. This is where I may be at fault. I told her that my answer is no and that I will not take anything to risk making my baby sick. She then began telling me I'm not supportive and my baby doesn't need to be breastfed and will be fine with formula. That is when I snapped and told her that unlike her, I care about my kids and their safety rather than getting high and overdosing while I'm alone with my kids. I then hung up on her. I called my mum and told her what happened and she agreed with me. She agreed that when I said no, she shouldn't have kept pushing. Later, however, my brother called my mum and said I was out of line for bringing up her multiple overdoses and open CPS cases. Then he got mad when my mum said she wouldn't be buying either, as her doctor said not to with her health conditions. He's not talking to either of us, saying that I have influenced my mum to not buy either, and we aren't supporting her dream that will allow them to buy a house. The overdosing stuff and the CPS stuff aside, MLM's not the arsehole. As we're approaching Christmas time, you're seeing many more of them pop up on social media. And I'm seeing it like a rise in the whole weight loss ones. Drink this. I don't know if it's coffee ones I'm seeing, but it's certainly drink related ones that if you drink this, you'll lose kilos in a week and stuff like that. And you just think, gee whiz. And they won't answer the questions like if you reply to them on social media, say, oh, I'm interested in this. How much does it cost? They go, oh, I'll PM you. But whenever people post those sort of things, I always go straight to their profile because you can always see what they're into. And they usually got a list of different MLMs that they're employed by or that they're the business owners of, followed by many inspirational quotes and uplifting each other and stuff like that. And I've always wanted to infiltrate one of the actual main groups to see if I can get some of their promotional material and how their training material. Like the stuff where they say take a photo of you not smiling and then another photo of you smiling and wearing the product and wow, look at the difference. I'm going off on one here, but absolutely not. I hate MLMs. They're toxic businesses that require you to alienate your family and friends against you by spamming shitty products at them. Absolutely not the arsehole. Oh, don't get me started. Snazzy Susie Q says not the arsehole. I was going to say everyone sucks here. But the fact that she wants you to not breastfeed in order to buy her scam products swung it for me. Many are saying that you went too far when you brought up past events, but she has no right to give you parenting advice when her past clearly proves she does not have the best decision-making abilities when it comes to parenting. Del901 says she pushed, then pushed, then pushed. It would have been enough to make anyone snap, but especially a pregnant one, she is pushing to follow unsafe practices. Not the arsehole. Also, it sounds like your brother is delusional if he thinks that this MLM will earn her enough to buy a house. If the product is so wonderful, they don't need to push it onto you or your mum. There should be plenty of customers lining up to buy it. Listen One says, not the arsehole, but for future save your breath. There is no reasoning with anyone in an MLM. They're brainwashed. Polly6119 says, not the arsehole. When you Google statistics on MLM, a lot of pro MLM marketers have flooded the site with false information. Here's an actual case study done by the Consumer Awareness Institute. These MLM numbers are correct and accurate. Send this to your brother. Here's an excerpt. Our studies, along with those done by other independent analysis not connected to the MLM industry, clearly prove that MLM as a business model with its endless chain of recruitment of participants as primary customers is flawed, unfair, and deceptive. Worldwide feedback suggests it's also extremely viral, predatory, and harmful to many participants. This conclusion does not apply just to a specific MLM company, but to the entire MLM industry. It is a systemic problem. And then there's the link as well. Maybe a walrus says not the arsehole. Your sister-in-law is displaying clear signs of MLMithis. She is stuck in a pyramid scheme, most likely hundreds if not thousands of dollars of unsold product that she cannot sell. She is starting to realize how she is caught in a scam that will make her lose all her savings. She is getting desperate, and she is shoveling that on you, calling you unsupportive like it's your fault. Don't be intimidated by her anger. The only person she should be angry at is herself and the MLM. And just going back on it again, someone I know who's in an MLM and been part of many MLMs where they're told that, you know, they're uplifting others and all this kind of thing. And this person truly believes it, bless them, that they're actually helping others out. But also the amount of hours this person puts into testing, doing videos and all this other stuff on this particular brand is absolutely amazing. They must put absolute hours into it. And I know this person has their own little business on the side as well. And if they put all those hours and the stuff that they do, which is some of it is quite good stuff, barring it's an MLM, into their actual business, I'm sure their business would take off. I got no doubt about it. And it's just, I feel so sorry for that person, but people have tried to tell them in the past and they don't want to hear nothing of it at all. But, oh, bloody MLMs, man. What do you guys make of this story? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you know someone who's in an MLM? Do you see it on your socials? Let us know in the comments below and your thoughts on all of today's stories if you choose to share them. I would love to hear them, and I will see you cheeky, lovely so-and-so, in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon.